welcome back to Claudia Cooks. Have I got a treat for you guys? Yes, let's get right over to the star of the show today. We've got some goat meat in here, so I guess you know what we are going to be cooking today. But first, let's have a quick look at what we have here, and I will talk you through when I'm seasoning up this meat. Come on people, what are we waiting for? Let's cook up a storm in Claudia Cook's kitchen. Right, we've got a kilo of goat meat here that I've washed with distilled vinegar and lemon. And to that, I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil. And we're going to start with the spices, the seasoning. So here we have all-purpose seasoning. So we're gonna shake a bit on here. Some onion salt here, garlic granules, paprika, some ground ginger, this much, some seasoning salt, not that much, some turmeric, about this much, about a quarter teaspoon. We've got some green seasoning here. It's about a teaspoon and a bit. And I'm using this curry powder. You can use whatever curry powder you want. This is a heap teaspoon and a bit, followed by some crushed whole pimento, some salt and black pepper, now for some aromats. And we're going to start off with some fresh thyme. I'm using some bell peppers, some spring onion, scallion, or some people call it green onion, some onion. I'm using 2 small ones. I'm also using some fresh ginger, and this is half a thumb size piece of ginger here. I'm also using some fresh garlic. I'm reserving some of the ingredients because I'm going to add them at the latter stage of the cooking process. And to that, I'm also going to add some liquid Maggi. And let's season this baby up. Here we go. Right, once you've seasoned this, right, just cover it up, put it in the fridge for at least 2 hours, seriously, to get some real flavor in. If you've got time, overnight, even better. But this curry is gonna be so tasty either way, but give it a little bit of time to marinate. I really wish you could smell this. Have a smell. It smells gorgeous, doesn't it? Right, it's time to cover and put in the fridge to have its moment. See you when I'm ready to cook up this delicious curry goat. Okay, so I've heated the pan up now. I'm using my Dutch pot, a must in Jamaican Caribbean cooking, and I'm putting maybe about 4 tablespoons of oil. I'm using a neutral oil, as well as I'm adding a tablespoon of coconut oil. I love the flavor combination here, but of course you can use whatever oil you want. But for this curry goat, I'm using those 2, and I'm just gonna let that melt out. And once that's melted, I'm going to add some curry. Right, I'm just going to let that melt, and then I'm going to add some curry powder to the oil to burn it. and that's what, you know, the term we use in the Caribbean. And it's just really cooking and fragranting the curry before we add the meat into it. We don't want to burn it so it becomes bitter, because that wouldn't be any good for our curry. So we just really want to gently cook it off, you know, to release all the flavors from the curry. So I'm gonna do that for maybe about a minute or two, and then we will add our seasoned goat meat. So I'm just helping it along here by stirring it, because we don't want it to burn. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. We're gonna add our meat, and I'm adding everything including the seasoning, because I've got all new seasoning to add to it. And we're not going to add any water to this. I'm going to cover this, and I'm going to turn the fire down to medium low, and I'm going to let that cook for 30 minutes. Intermittently every 10 minutes you will need to go and stir that to make sure that it's not sticking or burning, but don't add any water to it, because it will spring its own water. Okay, because we'll have enough time to add water, because we will need to do that. Okay, so I'll see you back in 30 minutes. Okay, we are at the 30-minute mark. Just gonna give this a stir. Okay, this is what it's looking like after 30 minutes and no added water. So you can see it cooked itself in its own natural juices. So now we're going to add some boiling water from the kettle. So we're going to cover the meat. Nice bubble there. And what we're going to do now, we're going to cover it, and we're going to cook it for an hour. And the same principle applies as before. You check it intermittently, stir it, and to make sure that it's not sticking. But we're going to cook this now and low to medium. So I see you back here in an hour's time. Okay, there we go. Right, this is the hour mark, and I'm just gonna test the meat before I put some more water on it, and then I'm going to cover it and give it another hour. Okay, let's test this. Yes, still some resistance. We need it to be really tender, so we need for sure to cook it more. And I'm going to add hot water, and we're going to cover that. We're going to give that a stir. We're going to put the lid back on and let that cook for another hour, and I'll see you then. Okay, we're into the 2.5 hours cooking period. Let's just give this a stir. Okay, we're going to test the tenderness of the meat. Okay. Right, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add some more seasoning to the pot. So we're going to add basically the same seasonings that we use to season the meat with, like the bell peppers, thyme, and of course we've got some Scotch bonnet. I didn't cut it up and season the meat with it because I didn't want it to be too hot. And I've got some red and white onion here, but you just use whatever onion you have. I just had half of one, so I just thought I'd add it to it as well. And I've got some spring onion here. Got some carrots. And I've got some more pimento seeds in here. I'm gonna add some more garlic to raise up all that delicious flavors that's been cooked out. Now we're adding some more to enrich this delicious curry goat. Right, so after stirring, right, we're gonna put the lid back on and we're going to cook that for 30 minutes more before I add the potato. So I'll see you there. Right, it's time to add the potatoes. Right, a little stir. I'm trying not to burst the Scotch bonnet. There it is, found its way there. Okay, before I add the potatoes, now let me just taste this and see where we are at for seasoning. Oh my goodness, yum. I'm just going to put a little bit of salt in it, just a tiny bit. Taste. Yes, that's what we're talking about. Flavour. Right, time to add our diced potato. We're gonna add a spoonful of butter. Time to stir it up. Yeah, that's how we roll. Pop a bit more boiling water in, just a tad more. Just enough to cook potato. Cover, and we're going to let that cook for about 20 minutes and I'll be back. Right, let's check the potato. I added an extra 12 minutes onto it because after 20 minutes it was still a little hard, but this is good. Have another taste. See how that is. Oh my goodness, it tastes amazing. Salt, seasoning, everything is perfect. It's really soft. Oh wow, brilliant, perfect. Right, I think this is absolutely brilliant as it is. But last year I was out shopping to do some curry goat and I saw this thing called Ram It Up, and it's supposed to be a booster. So let me see what it really does, because I think the way my curry goat is, it's perfect as it is, but all the time I'm always looking for ways to elevate anything I cook. So I'm going to give it a try and see what it actually does, because it's got things like onion, garlic, salt, black pepper and stuff like that. So let's see what this actually does, even though I don't want to, but I just want to see what it does. What extra flavors does it add to this dish, if any? So let's see. Just gonna let that cook down for 3 minutes and then we'll be back to give the verdict. Okay, 3 minutes since adding the boost. Oh my gosh, I know I've said this before, but only if we have smelly vision or whatever, you know, gadget, you know, one's using to watch a video, only if the smell from this kitchen could come through that, then you'll know what's going on in this kitchen. Now I'm going to try a bit of the gravy with the boost and see what the difference is. I think what I can actually taste is a bit more pepper, but to be honest, I don't think it has made that much of a change, to be honest. I can taste a lot more pepper in this, but that's all that I can actually taste the difference comparing to how I cook it before I add this in there, and it's only the pepper. So you can put it on or it's completely optional. But as I said, I like to try things just to see. And yeah, my curry goat is done. Let's take a look at that. Wow, gonna turn the fire off And I'm going to let that sit for a while before I serve up. There you have it, guys, my delicious and tasty curry goat. Enjoy, people. Have a little taste. Yummy.